Hi, my name is Monte Tilgner with the Iowa High School Athletic Association. This training video is going to be another one of our position-specific videos, and we will focus on the back judge. We're going to look at all the different types of plays that the back judge will have to look at and talk about mechanics, where we should be looking, where we should be standing, and the judgments that we need to be made, with a heavy emphasis on the running game and offensive holding. We have 7 plays. We'll discuss offensive holding, 5 plays discussing blindside blocks, and 5 plays involving scrimmage kicks, and then a variety of other plays that involve the back judge as well. So let's go ahead and get started. This first play here, these first 7 are going to be on offensive holding calls, on running plays. Very important that our back judges are heavily involved in running plays. I think a lot of times I've talked to high school back judges and they're like, it's boring when they just run the ball. It's kind of like got the night off. We don't have the night off. We have to be very actively involved in the running game. It's very instrumental that we are looking where we should be as a back judge, and without our eyes where we're supposed to have them, we're going to miss an awful lot of stuff. So this first one is a correct call for a grab and restrict at the point of attack. What we look for offensive holding, first of all, especially in the on the perimeter or in the open field, like most of these are for the back judge, they need to really jump out at you. So you're looking for a shoulder dip or the feet really getting stuck. And they're going to be grabbing them all the time. There's going to be a little bit of restriction, but you need a material restriction that takes something away from that defender making a play on the runner, that meaning at the point of attack. And the shoulder dip and the feet are getting stuck are kind of a couple of key things to look at. So on plays that are up the middle, you should be focusing as a back judge on linemen releasing out to linebackers or possibly a back who's coming through the line and going to block a linebacker. On plays that are to the outside the tackles, on sweeps, quick pitches, jet sweeps, or quick passes, quick swing passes or bubbles, then we're looking, outside and looking for what's happening on blocks ahead of the runner where the ball is. So on this play, we've got an option play, and this is the block that we would want the back judge to be on. The reason why we would want the back judge to be on this block and not this block is because with this runner in space, the line of scrimmage official can be on this block. So we got to understand that as a crew. We don't want 2 sets of eyes on this block and no one on this block. So back judge, you've got the block that's a little further downfield, knowing that the referee and the line of scrimmage official are probably going to be on a block that's front side, but a little closer to that runner. And if this block wasn't here, then we would have 3 sets of eyes, referee and the line judge and the back judge on it. But since we have 2 blocks, we want our back judge picking up this block, and our R and our L would be on that block. So if we continue here, we're going to see here, this is what we're looking for. Okay, when I talked about feet getting stuck, okay, we get a little bit of shoulder dip there, but watch this defender's feet. He's trying to get off of this block and release to this runner. And if that guy doesn't grab him here, he's easily going to be able to, make a hit on that runner. But there's his feet getting stuck. He's trying to go, and he can't. Don't be fooled if they try to spin out of it. Don't be fooled if they kind of give up, throw their hands up in the air. But on this one, we do have a material restriction that we have at the point of attack, and we do see that little bit of shoulder dip, and definitely those feet getting kind of stuck or drugged behind him. All right, now in this play, we have an offensive hold that we would not want called. Contrasted to the last one, we do not have a dip in the shoulder. We don't have feet getting stuck, but we are going to talk about the penalty enforcement if we have a hold that's beyond the line of scrimmage, and we have a run that ends beyond the line of scrimmage as well. But we're really looking at increasing our threshold of what a hold is, because we would not want a hold called on this play. Here we're just talking about mechanics of the short wing. Okay, so again, short wing's going to be there, and this is what we should be looking at this point. Again, we have two blocks, so front side, our referee and our line judge are going to be focused on this first block. This would be the initial block we would want our back judge to be on. This is chase mode. This has a high potential, what I call red flag, for a block in the back. It doesn't end up being any foul, but as we go forward, right now, you can see that's a push on the side, okay? And what the back judge does is he calls on this right here. And just so let's focus on that block right there now. Okay, that block is good. It's good. It continues to be good. You don't see the restriction, shoulder dip. You don't see the feet getting stuck. What you see here is a defender who gives up and throws a hand up in the air, acting like he's being held. So let's focus on this block now as I go forward. Again, he's just driving him. The feet are not getting stuck. The feet maybe not, feet are off balance because he's pushing him from the side, but there's no restriction there. There's no hold there. And here comes our flag by our back judge. My next comment is we do not want our back judges to come outside the hash until the play's over. Stay at the hash. That depth and that width of that vision is your friend. And then after the play's over, you can come in. But if we're talking about penalty enforcement here, we have a run that ends up beyond the line of scrimmage, and we have a hold. So let's say we did have a hold. We don't. But let's say we did have a hold, and it occurs, to make it easy, let's say the 45-yard line, and then our runner goes and is downed at the 42, 43. Our flag ends up at the 48. We would have to move that flag back to the 45 because we would enforce that from the 45-yard line, 10 yards back to the other 45-yard line. Because the basic spot's the end of the run, we have a foul by the team in possession behind the basic spot, and therefore it's going to be a spot foul. In this case, increase our threshold of what's a foul. We're looking at the right spot. We probably don't get to that block soon enough to even rule on that being a hold, which would have been good because then we wouldn't have had an incorrect call for offensive hold. All right, this is an interesting play. This happens a lot where we have a hold, but there is enough for a restriction. But this is the important part right here, is holding is a two-step process. So when you see enough that material restriction at the point of attack that you're saying that is enough, I'm ready to throw, you need to, the second step of this process, one is you see enough to make it a foul, enough restriction to make it a foul. Second one is you need to check the status of the ball, because one, if it's not the point of attack, we don't put a flag down. Two, if the ball is becoming dead, we would not want to put a flag down. So make sure we have both steps before we throw that flag. We have enough restriction and the play is not becoming dead. And this is where, be patient, you can eliminate incorrect calls. So if we take a look here. All right, so he's being tackled just as the hold, or just after the hold occurs. There's no additional yardage. So this is the player we're going to be watching. Okay, that's the block I would want the back judge to be on. And there is enough for a hold right there. You can see there's the shoulder dip. And that we talked about the feet getting stuck. Watch right here. Watch this action. There's the dip of the shoulder. There's the feet getting stuck. But what do we have happening? We think about it. We're thinking about throwing because we got enough. But then we continue. We be patient and we watch. This runner goes down just after that hold and at the same yard line. He doesn't gain any additional yardage. Therefore, we have no impact on the play. We do not need to put a flag down. Better understanding of philosophy and thresholds on holds. This is, again, one that occurs when the play is ending. A good one to talk about with the player, but one we do not need to put a flag down. Okay, so the action we're going to have is right here. Again, there's that shoulder dip. This is a run up the middle. It's exactly what I'm talking about in regards to a lineman releasing to a linebacker. That's exactly where our back judge should be looking. And right here, that's where we have the restriction. Okay, he's dipped this shoulder of this defender. All right, so we're like, okay, I've got enough restriction. It's at the point of attack, but by the time you process that and you look and the ball's becoming dead, therefore we do not need to put a flag down. Okay, it's timing. We need the two-step process. We need enough material restriction, and we need a delay of time before the ball is becoming dead. All right, another incorrect call for offensive holding on one player, but we have a missed no call for offensive holding on another. So we should have had a flag on one hold here, and we should not have had a flag on one that we did throw. All right, so first of all, we got this receiver coming to the inside. As a back judge, always, anytime you see a receiver coming to the inside, that's a red flag. You got to have your antennas up. You got to be watching that. Okay, so this guy, when he releases and doesn't crack back, then he's not a threat to foul anymore. So then again, don't officiate error. So look for work. So now you go into the tight end. Here's where we are going to have enough for a hold. You can see the shoulder dip again, that restriction. Okay, right there. He's grabbed and he's turned that upper body of that defender that is at the point of attack. That is one that our back judge could and should get for offensive holding. We don't throw on that, but we do throw on is this, and this is not a foul. So just look at the difference between that first one and this one. Again, on this one, he just drives this guy. I mean, there's no hold there. Not even close. And that's where our line of scrimmage official had a flag. Back judge did not. But you can take him off of that. You know, come in and say, did you have a hold on number 53 or whatever? And if he said yes, say, you know, I had a great look at that the whole way. There was no restriction. Let's pick it up. And then as a crew, you got to talk about that and you got to be willing to do those things. All right, this is a very good judgment by the back judge here. Again, blocking to what is presented to him. He gets the side of this guy and he just rides this guy. And then the defender will try to spin out. And again, remember, if they try to spin out, it's not a foul. So he's just riding him. He lets him go at the right time. He doesn't hook him and really restrict him enough that we would want to hold there. So that's what we want. No foul. And then at the end here, just again, know where that goal line is so we don't drift into the end zone. We do drift in the end zone a little bit. I'd like you to stop right on that goal line and signal. But what I do like is he continues to stay with this player who just scored and his teammates. Make sure he doesn't spike the ball or do something like this. So you signal, you can turn, and now you can drift in the end zone now and go get that ball from him. Make sure he doesn't spike it or do something stupid. But if he does spike it, and that ball, you know, spikes it high enough that ball goes above his head, then you're going to have a foul. Another one here, combination of, you know, could be a blindside block, could be a hold. It's neither, but the back judge should be right on this. So again, anytime a receiver goes to the inside, we got to see that. So that's a huge red flag for potential blindside block. It's good. He just seals him. That's what he's supposed to do. He's not supposed to blow him up. If he does, we got a flag. But he just seals him. And now that once you clear that block as a back judge, we have to clear one block and go to another. This block is now clear. Now we're going to move on, and that's going to be the next block that we're going to look at right there. And you should have some help from your short wing on this one because the runner's in space. Again, nothing there. So excellent job of officiating. And now here comes our back judge in to clean up the sideline, get players separated, and then after that, get that ball and toss it in for our triangle. Okay, moving on to the next huge point of emphasis, and that is punt plays, scrimmage kick plays. So back judge mechanics. First of all, remember, if they have two returners, you are to be 7 yards deeper, right in between them. If they only have one return man, 7 yards deeper than he is, just off the shoulder on the wide side of the field. Basically, you're right behind him, just half a yard to the wide side of the field, but 7 yards deeper. After the kick, you immediately pick up the depth and the direction of the ball. And now you are watching the return man only. All right. You need to see if he signals fair catch or does any other waving motion that would make the ball dead on possession by team R. Do not watch any blocks. And how do you know where to move then to be in position? It's real easy. You move opposite he does. So you start out behind him. He moves to the right. You move to the left. And then what you want to do is you want to end up on the catch being 5 to 7 yards wider than he is and 5 to 7 yards deeper than him around a 45-degree angle. After possession, you want to beanbag that possession, and now he's a runner, and now you will watch for blocks out front, specifically looking for blindside blocks, illegal block in the back fouls, or holds. So this is absolutely perfect mechanics by our back judge. Okay, so you notice he definitely started out. That return, you're not going to. So let's say the return man sends up on the hash. You're not going to go outside the hash. We want you on the wide side of the field, we said. So this back judge, I'm sure, was setting up just inside of his right shoulder, in this case, the return man's right shoulder. And then when that return man drifted outside the hash to get the ball, all our back judge really had to do probably was take a step or two back, and he's in perfect position there. That's exactly the angle we want you to look at. And now you're just going to toss your bag after possession, and now you're going to watch blocks. So he's just tossing his bag now, and that's a great way to do it. You don't have to throw your bag up there. You can just take it up there and toss it to that spot. I kind of like to try to put that bag really close to a hash mark all the time. That way I have a good idea where to find it after the play. All right. Continuing, looking at some more punt plays. Rules and mechanics on scrimmage kicks. All right, so back judge, remember, we have two return men. You should be splitting them. In this case, when they're, really at the 15 or in, you should be on the goal line. So have your feet right on the goal line in between them. And that goal line is very important because we need to see if that ball breaks the plane of that goal line, making it a touchback. Fair catch signal. So you need to see that. So let's go back and see our back judge. It looks to me like he's looking up at the ball. The problem with that is if that return man signals fair catch right now and you're not looking at him, we've got all kinds of problems if he decides to run with that ball. So you should be looking at that return man, and then still at the goal line. So you should still be at the goal line, and that way you're just standing at the goal line, straddling it right here, staying there. Do not move in toward this action. Just let it play out. You are right on top of this thing. And just remember, a kick is a kick is a kick. That's the saying that will help you remember that the rule is we have a touchback if that ball is not possessed by somebody before it breaks the plane of the goal line. So you can see that ball has broken the plane of the goal line right here. That ball is in the end zone. So before anyone can recover it, we've got a dead ball, we've got a touchback. Okay, that's where a kick is a kick is a kick comes into play. The crew did end up getting this right eventually, but it would have been really nice to get it right the first time. So we do not have a touchback because the return team fell on the ball in the back of the end zone. We've got a touchback because it was dead the instant that ball broke the plane of the end zone. All right, so just understanding those rules and those mechanics. Again, punt play. So what do we beanbag on a punt? It's a great example of a muffed punt. And again, we're not in good position here. We're just really straight lined. We wouldn't know if this guy muffed it and it went between his hands or not. If we were over here, okay, about 5 yards wider, 7 yards wider, and the depth is okay. You could be a little deeper, but the depth is okay. But we need to have this angle so we can see if that ball, did he muff it or did it go through his hands? You're not in a good position to see it. But we don't beanbag a muff, all right? We beanbag an illegal touching by K. We beanbag possession by R, because where possession ends is the end of the kick, and that's important for post-scrimmage kick or PSK fouls. All right, so in this case, we don't have a dead ball, that's for sure. That's good. We don't want to be blowing our whistle. I wouldn't even have my whistle in my mouth at this point. Just you blow your whistle, when that ball goes through his hands. Let's say as soon as it goes through his hands, you're blowing your whistle, and now all of a sudden the blue team comes and recovers this. You now have an inverted whistle, and you're not going to be able to award them the ball. So next punt play, again, we need to read the depth and direction of the punt, because we should know that this ball is going deep. And if we were in proper position right now, we'd be at the 10-yard line. And now we see our return man, who is the only thing we're watching right now, going back. And we're watching him go back. He's now at the 15. I'd want you about the 5. When this ball hits, if this ball, has a big old trampoline effect and gets to the goal line and you're not there to know if this guy, possesses it before he gets in the end zone or not, we've got a problem. So your feet should be right where the B here is. Now that he's picked it up, we want to beanbag it, and now we want to be looking for blocks. This high alert for blindside block ends up being a good, oops, sorry. Oh, man. Let me back up. Sorry about that. All right, so we've got going back here. This is our first potential blindside block. Guy does a good job of just, push and not in the back on the side. And then this is another potential for blindside block. Again, ends up being legal. Doesn't really do anything. And we should be on the inside, coming up from the inside of the hash at the end of this play, not outside the numbers or outside the hash. Never good when we have a guy on the ground looking like that. Hopefully we had eyes on it to see that it was not a foul. All right, another punt play. I think this is our last one. Muffed punt by R, recovered by anybody in the end zone. What do we have? Well, we already talked about this kind of. We're going to have a touchback. So, again, looking at our initial position by our back judge, not deep enough. We're only about 3 yards behind, and now we're chasing them to the goal line as well. Okay, muff. So what happens? Take a look at this. That ball's in the end zone before K recovers it. All right, but if K would have recovered that ball on the 1, that ball's dead when he recovers it. It's a muff. Can't advance it. It's a muff. But that ball broke the plane, then he recovered it. Therefore, we have a touchback. And we need you to be right on that goal line right now, looking straight down, so you can have a good, clean ruling that ball broke the plane before he recovered it. All right, moving on. Some other type of action that we want to see. Again, this is rules knowledge, and back judge, you need to be all over this as well. Who can block below the waist and when they can block below the waist. We're going to have a pulling guard who's going to get blocked below the waist by, I don't know if it's a stand-up D-end or a DB, but this little guy is going to come in and block a lineman low. And we need to understand that free blocking zone and where it is and when a low block can occur. So here's our rule. Blocking below the waist is permitted in the free blocking zone when the following conditions are met. All players involved are in the free blocking zone and on the line of scrimmage at the snap. This defensive end or DB is not. The contact needs to be in the zone, and the block has to be immediate initial action following the snap. So none of these really are going to be the case on this particular one. So if we take a look here, we would be looking at this block here by number 40. But when we see this defensive ending crash, we're going to want to see as a back judge this block. And actually the block might take place in the free blocking zone, but it doesn't matter. We need all 3 of those conditions met. So that guy can't block low, nor can he be blocked low. So that would be one we want our back judge to pick up, easily could pick up, Could get help from the line judge, could get help from the referee, but it's one that we need to get. So definitely foul by the defense. My note here is the ball ends up dead behind the line of scrimmage. Where do we enforce this from? Again, back judges, you need to be involved in penalty enforcement. This is a foul that occurs behind the line of scrimmage. The run ends up behind the line of scrimmage by Team B. Therefore, we're going to enforce this per last year's new rule from the previous spot. It'd be half the distance to the goal, and it's not an automatic first down, but a penalty may result in a first down. Okay, we've got about 5 blindside block plays. These will go kind of quick, but we've got to open up our vision. Back judge, you are the #1 guys for blindside blocks. So on this one here, we've got kind of a squib kick bouncing down. It's going to go out of bounds like the 25-yard line or so. Here's our back judge here. You're coming on the field, that's great, but you need to widen your vision. You need to look at anybody who's going the wrong way. We should have several sets of eyes on this guy here and just watch him blow this guy up. That is 100% blindside block, one that the back judge should definitely be all over. I mean, what other blocks are there for the back judge to be looking at? That's the only block that's occurring. You don't have any action here. You're officiating things, you know, and you need to pinch it down here on this side if we have a deep kick down the middle or on your side. But if that kick goes over, we need to shift our eyes over. This is the first thing that we should see. And that would be a very, very easy call and one that we would need to get for a blindside block. Next play, again, we got a receiver coming back to the inside. So what can happen? We can have blindside blocks. We could have a block below the waist possibly. We could have a block in the back, or we can just have a good seal block. We could also have OPI. But in this case, we're going to have a blindside block coming back to the inside. 100% that's where our back judge should be focused on. Boom. That is such an easy call. We got an injured player here. This is, you know, back 5 years ago, this was a great block that ooh and ah everybody, but now it's a foul, illegal blindside block. High school, college, NFL, doesn't matter what it is. That's a foul. We got an injured player, and we got to make sure that we take care of that. We are looking at the same game here. So again, this is this player number 18 coming in for that blindside block. And again, we're going to have the same team. So let's take a look at this one. So blindside block or late hit, your choice. But philosophy here, when in doubt, make it a dead ball foul. But the biggest thing is we need to get this. And back judge, you're the #1 person to get these on these plays out in the open. So why do we miss this? Because we're ball watching instead of watching, opening up our vision, watching for blocks. All right, so here's our action. Back judge initially, yeah, you're going to be over here, okay? But now, once we see this quarterback scramble, we have a running play, and we should be looking right in there at that missed block in the back. All right, so the play's over. But we need to see this big guy here. And, I mean, that's just such an easy call. I mean, personal foul, blindside block, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, it doesn't matter. If he leads with the hands, which he really doesn't, this is the typical, what they do is they come in and they'll have the hands inside, and this is a hit. This is almost targeting. Could maybe be targeting. But this is forcible hit with the shoulders, and then at the end, what do? Then they extend their arms and push them, thinking that, oh, that means it's not a blindside block foul. No, it is. I mean, that's a crunch with the shoulder, follow through with the hands. That's a foul. If it's not a blindside block, if it was just a push down with the hands, that still would be a foul for unnecessary roughness. All right, again, opening up our vision to see blindside blocks. Talking about some other officials there and their mechanics. But now this is the one we want to see. Okay, again, back judge. I have no idea where this back judge is. He ends up being way over here. So he's outside the, anyway, stay in the middle of the field. Stay right in the middle of the field at the snap. And then don't move until you have to. And then move with the purpose when you do. And that purpose should take you no more than the hash mark. So really, I'd want our back judge right right here watching this action, and you would see that as a back judge. So when I initially watched this, I'm like, where is our back judge? We should be right here. We should be looking right at this and pick this up. I don't see him. I don't see him. And then it continues. And I'm like, what was he doing way over there the whole time? I have no idea. But we need to improve our mechanics. Stay inside the hash marks until that play's over. Another one, blindside block. Again, we have a receiver going to the inside. Our antennas are up for blindside block, for crackback, for block below the waist, for just a good seal block, but we need to see it, or for possible pick and OPI. In this case, again, forcible contact, going back to the inside, puts him on the ground. That's one that our back judge should have in his vision. That's the one that he should get. When you see that guy going to the inside, you do not leave him until that block's over. You don't look at this block when the runner's way over here. The block that on that crackback is the one that we need to see. All right, moving away from those fouls and looking at a very good call for defensive hold. So remember, defensive hold, what we're looking for is a dip of the shoulder, a grab of the jersey that takes a step away from the receiver. Not just a grab of the jersey that stretches it a little bit and the guy runs right through it, but they need to take a step away from that receiver. All right, so it's going to be up here at the top, and that the foul occurs when they make their break. This guy's going to make a break to the outside, and this is when he's going to get held. I'll go in slow motion. Okay, right there, he's trying to break to the outside. He's getting held right about now, but definitely on that break to the outside. And this is one where probably we have a defensive hold that transitions into a DPI. So if you have a hold here, and then that hold continues until the ball, after the ball's in the air, we would have a defensive hold that converts into a DPI. We don't have two fouls, we only have one, but it's going to be a DPI. So if we have that hold before the ball's in the air, it's a defensive hold, and that's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Next, we have a defensive pass interference call that is correctly made. Again, a DPI, the window for DPI starts when the ball's in the air. So in this case, we got a double-double, so we know we're going to be on the line judge's side. Both the line judge and the back judge are going to be on this, this point man. And now we need to open our vision and look at who is potentially can be fouled. There's space here, so we don't need to be on this action. We'd want to pick up this, and we're going to have a linebacker that is going to hit our receiver right there, and the ball is right here already in the air. So that is defensive pass interference, and one that we would want called, and one that we do have called. Remember, try to get in the habit of finishing the play. What do we have? We've got an incomplete pass. So signal incomplete pass. Then get on your row 2-0 and say pass interference, defense number 40, maybe it was, 15-yard penalty. In this case, will result in a first down. All right, a couple things mechanically. We're snapping the ball from the 15-yard line. If you want to start out in the middle of the end zone, that's fine. If you don't read run or quick pass right away, you need to be retreating to the pylon, or I'm sorry, to the end line. If at the 15 you want to start at the pylon, the end line, that's fine. But you can start out in the middle, but you just got to back up right away. So we miss OPI here. So let's look at this. First of all, we know as a back judge, we need to have the outside two guys on this formation with this trips. Okay. And this receiver comes out and blocks. This is a blocking posture, and he initiates that block with that defensive player. So right now, as a back judge, you should be on that action. I mean, he's the only one who could possibly foul or be fouled. There's space here. There's space here. Don't officiate air. This is what you should be looking at. We also really should have our headline judge on that same action, but he continues to block him. So now we have OPI hanging, and now when we have a ball that legally crosses the line of scrimmage, boom, flag goes out, and we have offensive pass interference. Number 35, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, first down in this case. Okay? By now, we should definitely be at that end line because we did not have an immediate pass. All right, another little catchphrase. When in doubt, wipe it out. Anytime you have to think about what did he maybe not have possession long enough before he fumbled, make it an incomplete pass. All right, so when in doubt, wipe it out. And we can freeze things and slow things down and make anything a catch, but this ball just comes out way too quick. All right, so does he catch it and as he's turning get hit? Yeah, so that's why it's a fumble. That's why it's an incomplete pass, not a fumble. For him to have it be a catch and a fumble, he needs to possess it. He needs to put the ball away. He needs to make a football move and then have that ball come out. This ball just comes out way too quick. When in doubt, wipe it out, make things a lot easier. No cheap turnovers is another catchphrase that fits right in there perfectly with those potential catch, no catch, fumble situations. Okay, we're going to have about 3 plays here on the new rule from last year, illegal personal contact against a defenseless player, a receiver. So these big hits that occurred in the past, they were just great hits. Now they're fouls. Oh, hold on. Let me back up on this one. Oops. Darn it. Okay, this one, my bad, is correct judgment because it's a wrap up. So you can have, this shows excellent. This shows that you can have a big hard hit without it being a foul because he wraps him. And thank goodness he does, because if he just if he just unloads on this guy and that ball pops in the air, up in the air and his teammate catches it for an interception, if he didn't wrap him up, we'd have a foul. But in this case, it was a wrap up tackle on the hard hit, and therefore it is not a foul, and therefore we have an interception. Contrast that, personal foul, illegal hit against defenseless receiver. Again, these huge hits used to be legal, and now they're fouls. This is really a pretty easy one. If he wraps him up, it's not a foul. Since he doesn't wrap him up, it is a foul. It's right there in the rule. It talks about one way it is not a foul is if we wrap up. They're both playing the ball. That is not the case. Or if it's not forcible, that's forcible. He does not wrap up. He's not making a play on the ball to intercept it, that would be. So that is a foul. Again, same rule. Big play. These big hits are now fouls. And I have no problem with how late this flag is by the back judge. We need to see it. We need to be able to make that decision, process it before we put a flag down. Okay, great pickup for illegal block in the back by the referee. Our back judge should have been all over this. This is exactly where our back judge should be looking. And he's in chase mode, doesn't take much contact at all for that to be a foul. That is a great call by our referee, but one that I would expect our back judge to pick up every time. Another illegal block in the back. This is a very good call by our back judge, exactly where he should be looking. Both him and the line of scrimmage official, the 8 to the top of the screen, get this. Okay, so here's our runner. As a back judge, we're not responsible for his progress or anything, so we need to be looking at potential blocks. That's our block. Again, he's behind him, and that contact, that little bit of contact. This is chase mode. He's behind him. Any contact in the back is a foul. There he hits him right in the back, puts that guy down to the ground. Great flag by both of our officials. This is one, again, we would need to move those flags and get them together. It occurred at the 32-yard line. We want to get those flags together at the 32. And our basic spots, the end of the run, our enforcement spot is going to be the spot of the foul. With the flags to 32, go from the 32 back to the 42, and repeat, third down. So this is an interesting one. We do not bag interceptions. And we don't in high school, we don't in college, only the NFL does. They have some different rules. But the reason why we don't bag interceptions is because that beanbag is a point of reference for penalty enforcement, and it's not going to be a possible enforcement spot where he intercepts it from. If he would fumble this ball, now we would want to beanbag where he fumbles it, because that would be the end of that run, and that could be enforcement spot. So that is the reason why we do not beanbag interceptions. Saves you a lot of time. If they run it back a long way, you don't got to go grab your beanbag. So just know we do not beanbag interceptions. The defense can get rid of offensive players to try to get to the runner, and not a foul for a defensive hold. Yeah, could he hold this receiver when he's running a route? Yes. In this case, we have a running play. He's trying to get rid of that receiver in order to release to the runner, and the receiver's like, what? That's got to be a foul. Well, no, that's not a foul. Per rule, 100% legal, no foul. Really good job understanding the momentum exception by this back judge here. So he gets back and is in very good position to rule that that ball was possessed in the field of play at the 1 yard line, 2 yard line. Then he went, his own momentum took him in. He got tackled, downs it. Ball goes out of the back of the end zone after a fumble, doesn't matter. We would have the momentum exception and go back out to the 1 or the 2 where he possessed it. That being said, if you're not 100% sure that he fully completed the process of this catch in the field of play, then make it a touchback. All right, but good to know the momentum rule. Look it up. All right, that's it. Pretty long, but we got really good stuff here from our back judges. Back judges, you've got to be involved in the running game. Runs up the middle, you're looking at that first block against the linebackers. Runs to the outside, you're looking at blocks in front of the action of that runner or that ball, and from the inside out. We have got to be the cleanup guys for blindside blocks and personal fouls. All right, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and watch it a time or two. Get yourself ready for the preseason. Be a great idea to watch those other position-specific videos that I put out as well. There's one for the referee, one for the umpire, one for the wings. So let's watch them all and get better individually and as a crew. Talk to you again soon.